All right. So let's continue our discussion on lists. So we were looking at the code corresponding to singly linked list, and we had defined a class node which is representing one node in this linked list, and then there is a list class which is going to have the head pointer as well as other functions which you are going to use to let's say perform different operations on this abstract data type list. And the operations we decided were, for example, printing the elements of the list, inserting an element, and so on, right? So all of this could be nicely modeled using a class in C++. And we also discussed about list as a special function inside this class, which turns out to be a constructor. Destructor will be tilde list, but anyway, you can ignore that for now. But typically, for example, if you have a linked list and you are not deallocating memory, at the end of the program, of course, it is going to get deleted. But when you are writing a program for a larger code base, you are expected to deallocate memory as soon as that list variable goes out of scope. And therefore, you might want to write the destructor so that it destroys the list, deallocates memory so that it can be used for some other purpose. Otherwise, this, as you create more and more lists, this memory will keep on getting consumed more and more, and that will create issues for your own software. So that is expected that the memory should be clean. Clean meaning it should not be unnecessarily consumed. Okay, so one question that had come up was that where are the functions, right? So the functions are defined just below the class list. So this is done. You can as well define the function inside the class itself, which means that I can just write something like this. So since we are able to see the list constructor, I can write something like this. So in the, like we have the function in braces, or I mean, you can as well write on multiple lines. You can write head equal to null. That is the line, line number 37, right? And now 38. And then what was the next one? Yeah, head equal to null. And sorry, I forgot what was the printf empty list created, right? So that you can add here. So you can write functions right away here itself, all the functions. There is no restriction, but and then delete the function on lines 36, 37, 38, 39. But to keep the abstract data type or to kind of motivate it better, I have given you the code in this manner. So this is how one is expected to write the code even inside a company, where your interface is given as one single class with declarations of public and private functions, which typically goes into a header file. So this particular class declaration can go into a header file, and I can include that header file whenever I want to make use of your class, right? So I can do list L and then have L.print, L.insert, etc. The implementation can actually be moved into a separate file, separate .cpp file, which will of course have hash include of this list.h or list.hpp, and all these functions which are for the list class, these will go into a .cpp file. This will be compiled separately, and you can actually convert it into a library, and you just port the push the library to the customer rather than giving him or her the source code. So that is also another way in which this can be done, but you can as well ship the source code also. The important part is you are now separating the interface with the implementation, the design, that is the ADT that we have created with the implementation. You can separate it. Currently, I have written it in the same file for the sake of convenience, but you can just convert it into a separate file and just link it. I mean, G++, let's say main.cpp, list.cpp. As soon as I do that, then it is going to create a single a.out out of two files rather than one. Okay. So anyway, that is not really our concern really here. In most of our codes, we are going to have all the implementation in the same file. But in case you are interested in doing a modular programming, feel free to try that out. If you face any trouble, just ask me. I'll be able to help. Alrighty, so let's focus on individual functions now. The first function was constructor, which just initializes head equal to null. This means that whenever I create a list L1, L2, L3 in main or some other functions, you are going to always have the head variable inside that list, individual list. L1 will have a head, L2 will have a head, and so on. Each of those heads are going to be initialized to null, right? Automatically, as soon as I declare list L1. The next function that we should check is not probably reverse. We should check the printing. So this is a print function which I have written. What does it do? Well, it should just go over the list and go on printing individual node element, right? So I have made it a little modular, and I'll show you. So I'm going to print iteratively, which means using a loop. And then there is a way to print recursively also, which is going to be the next call. So what do? I go over the list. How do I start? I start with the head. So I define a pointer of type node star. That pointer is pointing, is having the same value as head. So now head and PTR are pointing to the same memory location. And that memory location is essentially the starting address of your first node in the linked list, or it could be null also if the list is empty. And while PTR, which means while PTR not equal to null, PTR equal to PTR arrow next. So I just go on going over individual elements of this linked list, right? So this is going to dereference PTR. So this PTR arrow next is similar to, let me just write that here. PTR arrow next is same as I dereference PTR, right? As soon as I dereference PTR, I get the node corresponding to it. So that node is of type node. It's not node star, right? So as soon as I dereference, for example, if I have an int star and I dereference star PTR, then I'm going to get the integer. Similarly here, if the pointer is of type node star and I dereference star PTR, then I'm going to get node as the type. And on that node, which is a structure or a class, I can put a dot, right? So structure dot field is what we usually do. So this is equivalent to PTR arrow next is actually a short form for star PTR dot next. And therefore I am going to, whatever PTR is pointing to that node, its next field I am going to access. That is pointing to the next node, and therefore its address, the next node's address, which is stored inside this next variable, it gets copied to PTR, and therefore in turn gets copied, meaning here, because of this assignment. And therefore PTR now starts jumping to the next node inside the linked list, and this goes on happening, and therefore you get the like hop by hop, the PTR goes over the list, and for each such node which is being pointed to by PTR, you can do whatever arbitrary processing you wanted to do with respect to that node. So in this case, I have written a function which is PTR arrow print, right? So PTR is of type node star. So this is again similar to star PTR dot print, which means that this print is not on the list type. This print is on the node type. Have we defined print in the node? Well, we have defined it here, which just prints the value. Why I have defined it this way? Why couldn't I mean, I could have just printed that value from there, but then as a modular programming procedure, if I make changes to node, it is easier for me to make changes here rather than going into all the users of node, right? List is a user of node, customer or a client of node, because it is making use of the node class. So if I make changes into the node, the changes should get confined to as fewer places as possible. And therefore, if I make changes into this format, let's say instead of comma, I want it to be separated by tabs. In that case, I can just make change there, and that will get reflected in all the other clients of this node. So this is a good modular practice. The bad modular practice is by calling these as public, right? So that anyway is not really our concern right now, but a better object oriented program will keep probably print only public, and the val and next should be private or protected. Any questions so far? All right. I hope there are no questions here. Okay. Could you please explain what is a constructor? Constructor is a function which gets automatically called whenever you declare a variable of that type. So we also tried that in the last class, where inside main we have this list L. So this creating a variable L of type list, and therefore the constructor of list will automatically get called as soon as I create this L type, right? And that is very useful, because otherwise, I mean, if you don't like constructor, what you could do is like this L dot init and define that function init, which is going to initialize head to null. But what if a user forgets to call this initialization? There are lots of errors because of initialization, right? So such initialization gets, I mean, such errors get avoided if you can have automatically calling an initialization function, which essentially is what the constructor is. So in this case, we will call the initializer for list, which is essentially this function list, right, which gets implemented like this. Okay, what is this syntax? Well, it just means that list is the class, colon is within that class, that is called as a scope resolution operator. Within that, the function name is list, which does not take any arguments, and then the body of the function, and that's it. List, I mean, the constructors are special functions which don't return anything, because you cannot have anything as the return value, and therefore there is no return value specified here, unlike other functions which always return something. For example, void, node star, all of this.
Sure.
Yeah.
It should be node star head equal to null, right?
Well, okay. So node star head is defined inside the function, inside the class. So all the variables of that class are going to be kind of accessible inside all the functions of that class. So think about these variables, node star head and other variables, as the global variables for all these functions.
No, sir. Like in the constructor, it should be node star type, right? For head. You're just head equal to null.
Here?
I mean.
Or here?
Yes.
So, okay. So if we define node star head here, this becomes another variable which gets created locally inside the constructor. That variable is already available inside the class list. And if we do this, then we are not setting this variable on line number 31, but we are creating a new variable and setting its value to null. So that will not serve our purpose, because after this list constructor, list function is over, this head on line number 35 is gone. Right? We would like to set this variable to null, so that when I insert elements or print it, at that time this head is the one which is going to get used. So if I do this, this is almost like doing some other variable head2, which is set to null, and this variable is not set to null at all. This will cause problems.
Oh, okay, sir. Sir, one more thing. In the main function, when you call the constructor list of L, and when you want a head and you want to pass it to some other method, say like L dot find recursive, if you want to send some head pointer in that. So you just, how do you send it? L dot head, is it?
Good. So that's a good question. So if I want to send, let's say L dot print recursive, right? And I need to send the head, right? So I cannot use head here, because that head variable is not known to main. That head variable is not accessible inside main. This head is unknown. So this is a like undeclared variable usage, right? Now then, how do I send it to print recursive function? So one way is that I can make L dot head but this will be possible provided head variable is public in L, because now I am using that L dot head inside main. Main is not the same as list functions. Main is separate, list functions are separate. So head is accessible inside list functions. Head is not accessible directly inside main. So that is the power that the language gives you, that whatever you declare as private, that is not available to the external world. So if I go back here, this head is declared as private, and therefore only if I make it public, if I change this to public, for example, then I can say L dot head, but otherwise I cannot. Right? So how will I do that? Well, we'll solve that problem by saying that, so there is another philosophical argument here, that the user need not know how head is implemented, whether you have head variable or you have start of list variable, node star start of list, right? Or node star node, or you have capital head, right? All of these variable names should be hidden from the user. So one of the ways in which this problem can be solved is you can say L dot, and then I define a function get head, right? Which is a public function which I can define, and that just returns head. Then it doesn't matter what variable you use, but I provide as a list writer, I provide this function, and using that I can pass this as an argument. But there is another way in which this can be done, which does not need this head. And what I'm going to do is essentially I'm going to show you how to do that when we do, let's say, reverse recursive or find recursive or print recursive, where I'm not passing the head. So how do I do that? Well, I internally, from main I call find recursive, but internally I call another recursive function, and I'll show you. So this find recursive is not actually a recursive function. Find recursive, although the name suggests, it is not a recursive function, it's just one-time call, but internally it calls its own auxiliary function using head as the point, and that will help you do a recursive call, right? So main calls, let's call this as x. So main calls x, L dot x, and that x calls find recursive to itself, and that will take care of, because that x function which is defined inside the list has access to head, but main does not have access to it, and that is how it gets separated out, right? So I'll show you that as we come along. Good question. Any other concerns here? Okay, so then there is a question. PTR equal to PTR dot next can be replaced with star PTR equal to star PTR dot next. No. It can be replaced by PTR equal to star PTR dot. Right? In fact, you will get a compile time error if you try to do that others. So star PTR is of type node. PTR is of type node star, but star PTR is node. So left hand side of equal to is node. Right hand side is next. Next is of type node star. So node equal to node star is a type mismatch, and therefore we can write PTR equal to star PTR dot next. That is okay. Then Kaushik is asking, can you explain why next and while should ideally be as private variables? In fact, most of the variables that you use inside your classes should be private, unless that variable is really required to be used too much outside, right? So if every variable is going on, these are called as getters and setters function, where you get a variable, like we said, get head, that would have been a getter function, or get next, right? That would have been a getter function. So most of these should be hidden, because then you can change the variable name, you can add more variables, you can change their implementation and so on. If you make this public, then public can make use of, public meaning the other customers, clients of your class can make use of the data arbitrarily. If you keep those private, then their access to all these variables is restricted only by the interface. Interface is your public functions. So only the way you are providing, only that way they will be able to change the functions, change the, let's say, your node in this case. So therefore you should, as a good programming practice, make everything as private, right? I mean, in some sense, you should probably sometimes think about protected variables also, which are similar, but that inheritance part comes into picture. But for our discussion, it suffices to say that most of the variables should be private. You add some getters and setters function, set next, get next, etc. In this case, that node class is written specifically for the list. So it is okay to mark those as public, because then otherwise list variables, list functions will have to use get next, set next every time. Right? It becomes a little difficult to parse for us as humans. But in a company environment, you should mark these as private and just make use of those that as a good programming practice. Nothing like performance issues or nothing like that. Chotu is saying we can use this pointer. Yes, you can use this pointer. What is a this pointer? This pointer is a pointer which is pointing to the current node or current, let's say, object. Right? So these are all called instances or variables that are called as objects. So sometimes I might get into the requirement that I want to know, distinguish between the variable which is referring to the current node versus let's say the next node, or the one that is passed as a parameter, or I need to pass this object as a parameter to some other function. Right? So in such cases, that this variable, which is again a keyword in C++, can be useful. If we come across it, I'll explain it in that context. But for now, don't worry about it. Okay. Any other concerns, questions? Okay. It might be a little challenging initially to write it, to think about C++, because there are new and new concepts coming into picture. But once you get a hang of it initially, that will be, after that, it's going to be very easy. All right. So let's talk about insert. Right. So let me see if I have a slide on that. Yes. So list insert, let's say that I have insert 5. Right? What does that mean? Let's say I have decided that 5 should be inserted at the end of the linked list. So if I have the current state of the linked list like this, right? So how does this represent? This head is a pointer which is pointing to the first memory location. Right? Initially it was null, and then I said insert 4, and that is how this part of the linked list got created. And then I did insert 2, insert 7 to 9, etc. Right? So all of that happened. Now I'm doing insert 5. Let's see what all needs to happen. Right? And of course, the insert function is the one which is always going to get called, with 4 also, with 5 also as the argument. And therefore, we need to take care of whether head was null or not. Right? Whether the list is empty or not. Why do we need to distinguish across these two cases, whether head is null or not? The question, why do I need to distinguish between the cases when head is null while inserting versus head is not null while inserting? Okay, Mrityunjay says first case head will be null. Yes, but why do I need to distinguish them? I can't just have a single code which just works across all cases, whether it is null or not. Aniruddha says recursive implementation. No, I mean I'm probably writing an iterative version, but why do I need to distinguish that head is null or not? Where is the change in the code? Harsh is saying if head is null, then we can't define next. Okay, that is fine, but there is something else. Chotu is asking when head will be null, then we need to create a node, get the address of the new node as head. If not empty, then no need to change head. This is the reason. So going back to the slide, if I'm inserting 5 in the current list, do I need to change head? I don't need to. 5 is going to get inserted at the end of 9, and therefore I don't need to change head. But if head is null, I need to change head. This is the reason why I need to distinguish between these two cases. I don't need to distinguish between whether there are 1 elements in the list or 2 elements or 100 elements. But I need to distinguish between 0 elements versus non-zero elements, because I need to update head variable. So that is what is important in this. So the final list is going to look like this, where head doesn't change, right? So I need to set up the nodes. I'm going to partition the processing into different parts. So what do? I create a new node, right? So let's say new PTR, which is going to create a new node. Now, what is new node? Well, new is again a keyword. Think about it as a malloc, right? But there is a difference that new node is also going to call the constructor of node, but ignore that for now. Right? So it's going to do a malloc, and that is going to give you a pointer to node star. Note that I don't need to typecast, etc. when I'm using node, when I'm using new. The value that is contained inside the new PTR is 5, which is what is being passed, and the new PTR arrow next should become null, right? This is the setting up of the new node, right? So that is the new node that I am setting up, right? It is not yet linked with the list. I'm just creating it in memory, setting its value. Any questions on this setting up of node? Feel free to ask, no problem. If some pointer related things is not clear, please feel free to ask. Okay, so if there are no, I am assuming that you have understood this part. Once I have created this node, then what do? Well, I need to reach this node number 9. I mean, node having the value 9. How do I reach there? I don't have a tail pointer, and therefore I need to start from the head pointer and somehow reach there. How do I make sure that I have reached there? The variable, the node whose next pointer is null. The node whose next pointer is going to be null, right? So typically it is represented like this. Like we show the ground, right? So like that also it can be shown in the electrical circuit. So let's say that there is how does 9 differ from 4 to 7 2 is that its next pointer is null. So I need to go to a node whose next pointer is null. That means I have reached the end of the list, and therefore at that time I can just be pointing to that element here and then update its next pointer to new PTR. Update its 9's next pointer to new PTR, right? So that is something which I can do. Oh, by the way, this is the end case. So so whatever we discussed just now, that go to the last node which has the next pointer to be null, regular case, which is going to come as soon as the list is non-empty, and the end case for which we said non-zero versus 0. So if there are 0 elements, then I need to update the head variable. So if head is null, then I say head equal to new PTR. Is this correct? Any questions on this one? If head is null, then I just say head equal to new PTR. Right, so there are suggestions. Is new equivalent to malloc? How is it different? So Andrea, new is equivalent to malloc. You can as well do malloc here and it will still work. New is different. One thing, it calls the constructor automatically, malloc doesn't call. The second one is it is also type safe. So you don't need to get into the typecasting here, for example. Right? Anish is asking until ptr.next is null. Right, so that is correct. So until PTR, well, I'll say arrow next is null. Correct. So that is what we have to go to, right? So that is our end case. Now we'll go to the regular case, which is going over the list. So that is PTR equal to PTR. PTR starts from head, while PTR arrow next is not null, right? PTR arrow next essentially means PTR arrow next not equal to null. PTR equal to PTR arrow next. So there is a pointer which is jumping over 4 to 7 to 9. As soon as I reach 9, PTR arrow next is null. Therefore, I will come out of this loop, and there is nothing happening in this loop. I am just hopping over the elements of this list. At the end, I'll just say PTR arrow next equal to new PTR. Any questions on this one? Abhishek is asking head equal to new PTR copy value by reference. Head equal to new PTR. Yeah, so head is the variable which is accessible globally. So it's the class variable, not class variable, I should say, but the variable inside the class which is going to get updated with new PTR. New PTR is a local variable inside the function, inside this insert. So new PTR is going to go away after this function is over. So that is correct. But new PTR is pointing to a memory location inside the heap which you have obtained with new, right? Like what we do with malloc, the memory gets allocated on the heap. Similar with new, and available even outside the function, so that will work out. But where is the copy value by reference? Well, I think typically we call it as copying by value, right? So, but yes, there are of that new memory that we created, new node. So the new memory that was created, that was being pointed to by new PTR. Now head is also pointing to that memory location. So new PTR goes away, head will still continue pointing there. By default, val equal to 0 and node star next equal to null, right? When new node class is created, no. In C++, there is no such guarantee that it will always be initialized to 0. So we have to write the constructor to make sure that it is 0. Right? So for example, I'll just show you the code. In node, we have not written a constructor. But if we want to do that, we can do that. For example, the constructor can be written here, where I just say node, which doesn't take any parameters, and I say val equal to 0 and next equal to null, so that this function will get called automatically whenever I do new node. So the constructor gets called when you do a new or define a variable of that type. So essentially, when you instantiate that class, when you create a variable of that type, the constructor is going to get called automatically. Right? In this case, I didn't define it because I'm setting up the values as soon as I do a new node. Right? So as soon as I do a new node, just right after that, I am setting its value. So I didn't define the constructor, but you can define it for as a good programming practice. Okay. Just to confirm, when we say list, we refer to linked list, right? Okay, Anish is asking. Yes, in this case, we are talking about a linked list, but you can have an array-based implementation where you might have a different list implementation. Right? So list in general just means abstract data type list. It is not concerned about how it is implemented. But the implementation might use a linked list, which is using the pointers, or an array-based representation, or something else. Okay. Any other concerns, questions? All right. So this was our list related stuff. We'll look at the other functions also. But before that, there is a surprise quiz. Right? So you have to log into Moodle now and solve the quiz, which is going to be for next 10 minutes. Right? So it should be, I'll just paste the link here in the chat box so that you can just directly go there. Right? So this will also give you a heads up on how the quiz is probably going to look like in case some of you have not given a quiz on Moodle. Right? So please attempt this quiz. The answers are given. The answers might not match. Even if your answer is sometimes correct, there could be multiple answers, spacing, etc. So please try it out. And if there are any questions, we can take those up in the class itself. This is not graded, don't worry. But it's just to get you going with pointers. In case some of the concepts are not clear, feel free to ask. Okay, so please try that. 11:35 to 11:45. And if somebody is not on Moodle, you can self-enroll to this course.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
like we don't know the variable names, right? So, for example, one question asks us to make a pointer to an array of integers. So, like we can use any name for the array of integers.
Yes, you can use. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is more to judge your own how you understand pointers and so on. So just don't
Okay.
worry
So,
too much about the correct answer and so on. Yeah,
okay, just the line with which makes a pointer to an array. That's enough.
that's correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Those of you who have finished the quiz, can you just mention it in the chat that you have finished it, so that I'll approximately know how much time people are taking. That's okay. I think some of the, yeah, it's fine, Kaustubh. No problem. Yeah, please note that your answers might actually be correct, but the Moodle might just still say that it is incorrect because of spacing and so on. Okay.
Sir, is
Yes,
there a
sir.
mistake in the last question?
Sorry, you have what?
Is there a mistake in the last question?
Okay, just check. So what is the mistake there?
In star PTR is equal to AXY.
No, that seems to be okay.
Okay, fine. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dilip. Okay, thanks, Chotu. Thanks, Mayank. Yeah, thanks, Kasibatra. You finished, sir? Yeah, thanks, Vishnu. Okay, so it's 11:45, and I mean, this quiz is probably, yeah, thanks, Murad. This quiz is going to be open, so you can attempt it any other time also. And you can just look at the answers. I just quickly discuss some of the answers, but you can as well look at those, and you can see that although the marks might not be given, but your answer might still be correct. For example, let me just go, oops. Yeah, so here you just declare in star something, could be x, whatever. Declare a variable to integer. Here, what should I write?
Star.
Okay, star something. Okay, declare a pointer to an array of integers. So
Just star x.
Yeah, so this can be written in multiple ways. I mean, if x in star x is a pointer to an integer, it can also be pointing to an array. Right? So like we do in star x equal to malloc 10. So then becomes a pointer pointing to an array of integers. But if you want to say that no, I want that array was a and it should be a pointer to that, then you can as well declare in star star. That is also okay. Whatever you have, you should have some thought process behind that, a valid thought process. Array of pointers to integers. Are there answers in the chat? Oh, okay. Yeah, so that is fine. Yeah. Okay, so that is correct. So this becomes array of pointers to integers. So that is correct. Then we have accessed the value in the second node of a linked list pointed to by head. So the answer to that was what? Right. So head arrow next arrow value. Right. So head is pointing to the node. Head arrow next is pointing to the next node. That node's value is going to be arrow value. Alternatively, I mean, yeah. So it is from left to right associativity, and therefore, even if you don't give parentheses, it's okay. But even if you give, if you have any confusion, please feel free to give. You can as well write it using star and dot, the way we discussed just now, but that is optional. All right. Then the next question is, what does this do? Star ptr dot next dot val. Sets value of the second element on linked list to x, right? So next node's value will be x. Outer bracket is misplaced, is it? No, it seems to be okay. Seems to be okay. So this star is referring to the PTR arrow next. Right?
So doesn't the dot operator have a greater precedence than dereference? So I'll try to take dot val for a pointer and not for a structure.
Oh, I see, I see. Yes, you are right. You are right. So yeah, that is correct. So this parenthesis should have been left hand side of star. Yeah, that is correct. You are right. Yeah, thanks for that. There is a mistake here. But I hope that didn't create problem for most of you. But yeah, thanks for that. Right. So this is same as the previous question. It's just that I asked you to write it using probably arrows. But if you have written it using star and dot, essentially you will get the same answer. See, the mistake is this, that this should be parenthesis of star of, and then star ptr dot next, and then in that val, right? So that star should be happening before the dot, right? You should go to that node, and then inside that there should be a dereference. I mean, then you should access the field val. But if you do not, I mean, in this manner, what will happen is, since dot has a higher precedence to that, what will happen is this part will get evaluated first. So it will go to the node. On that, it will try to do a dot, but there will be a type mismatch because that is node star type. On that, we cannot have a dot. You can have a dot on node rather than node star. And therefore, you will get a compile time error. You are right. Right? Any other concerns? By the way, those of you who have a class, feel free to leave. I just discuss this last question and then we'll stop. What does this? What is the output of this? Yeah, pointer to array. Whatever. Okay, I'll just explain that, Anirudh, after this question. But any suggestions on? Okay, by the time the suggestions come, see, when you have int star x, that can also point to a complete array, right? So one can interpret the question as pointer to the array as such, right? So that is one way. Another way is you can say that I already have int star a as the array and I want pointer to that. So something which is dereferencing should give me a, and therefore I would require int star star ptr, which is equal to ampersand of a, right? So that way also one can interpret. Yes, both of these are correct. I mean, I have not I was not expecting that it can be interpreted in either way, but yeah, it can be interpreted in both ways, the way I have framed the question. Okay. Yeah, so what is pointer to an array? Is this this PTR is a pointer to an array of n elements. Yeah, that seems to be okay as well to me, unless somebody sees any problem. PTR is a pointer to an array n of elements. Yeah, this also seems to be okay to me. Yeah, I don't see any problem, Murari. No, that is not an array of pointers. Array of pointers will not have those parentheses. PTR is a pointer. It's not an array of pointers. If you remove the parenthesis, then it becomes an array n of pointers. Yeah, you can actually try it out, but yeah, this seems to be okay to me. The array of pointers is int star ptr of n, and then there is no parenthesis involved. Okay. Okay. So you same as star ptr plus n. Well, I didn't understand that because this is getting into expressions. But anyway, I'll just, so nobody has written the answer to this, but essentially you are going to, well, you can actually execute the program and see, but star PTR is going to give you 0, and then PTR plus plus is going to happen. Yeah, and then PTR will start pointing to 1. And then y equal to star of PTR plus plus. So y is going to get the value 1, and that value 1 inside the array is going to get increment. Right? And similarly others, you can quickly check that also the answer. But if you have any concerns, please feel free to discuss. Since we are declaring the variable here, that is correct, but this is like saying that in a similar manner that we declare an argument to a function, right? So we say int a of n, right? That doesn't mean that we are creating an array. It just a is still a pointer to an array of n elements. In a similar manner, PTR becomes a pointer which is pointing to an array of n elements. Okay. So if there are no further questions, we'll stop here. And I hope that you got some hang of how the quiz will be on Moodle and so on. Okay. Manichandran, declare an array of pointers to integers. Array of pointers to no. This is not an array of pointers. This is just array of integers. I mean, in this case, actually, that BCD are integer variables, right? PTR is an array which contains A, which is, well, in this case, I don't know, it might actually give a compile time error because that A is likely to be int star, whereas the left-hand side is going to be an integer array. So, line number 2 of the problem 7 code does. Okay, sure. We'll just, because there are students interested at this. Sorry, I had to change my room. I can. Oh, that one. That is simply PTR equal to A as the assignment happening. So PTR is a pointer which is pointing to the first element of A. So PTR and A are essentially pointers pointing to the same memory location, but A is an array. And then X, Y, Z, W are just variables of type integer. Right, so this is same as saying int, yeah, okay, good. Any other concerns? In the last question, is there any difference in execution of X and Y? There is no need for parenthesis in Y. There is no need of parenthesis in Y. Y equal to star PTR plus plus. No, there is a need. So plus plus has a higher precedence over star. Sorry, is that correct? Yeah. So here that plus plus is happening on the value, which means that it is happening on A of 1, because PTR is now pointing to A of 1. Whereas if you do not have parenthesis, then plus plus is going to happen on PTR. Right, so that parentheses are important. Okay, so we'll Moodle question, declare an array of pointers to integers. I understood the declaration. Can you show an example of assignment? Declare an array of pointers to integers. So no, there we'll have to use a for loop. We'll have to say, for example, if X is, so we'll have to say X of 0 equal to int star malloc 10, something like that, or X of 1 equal to ampersand of I, something like that. y equal to star ptr plus plus is same as y equal to star ptr and star ptr equal to star ptr plus 1. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, Shreyas has suggested it correct. Right. Okay, I think I'll have to stop here. And we can discuss more if there are further questions. Sorry, I'll have to close the meeting right now. Okay, see you. Bye.